Hey guys, I'm Avra and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video will be something very new, and for the first time I'll be introducing in my channel. It's about the integration of OpenAI with Streamlit. OpenAI has taken the internet with storm because of its very newly implemented chat GPT-3, where you ask a lot of things and this AI gives you the answer, which is really crazy. OpenAI also provides us with lot of other stuffs. For example, the GPT-3 model, which allows us for a variety of natural language purposes, the codex which translates our natural language to code, the DALE where we can play around with these images and all these stuffs. It's very crazy and it's really powerful. So I was thinking, why not kind of make an integration of this OpenAI with Streamlit and create simple but very useful projects. For example, if you have a big giant project where you're doing a lot of other stuffs, you can find a lot of videos in my channel, by the way, and here you can need to have a small place for as a AI helper or a AI chatbot. You can easily use OpenAI for that. So these are the small use cases where you can have as a side part. By that, you kind of give your client a very nice opportunity to play with the AI. Along with that, you have your main project out there with Streamlit. Whenever I study any research article or paper or something, I need to summarize them. I need to have few key points out there. If you're reading books, you need to summarize them. OpenAI can do it easily. You have a recipe, lot of steps out there. OpenAI can make bulleted points and tell you what are the key points from that you want. You have a meeting notes, OpenAI can do for that. So these are the things where we need the summarizing using the help of the AI, and I feel this will be a very useful use case in our daily life, and that's why I wrote this particular Medium blog post, kind of focusing towards the scientific articles, but it can be used for different use cases as I mentioned. You can go through this Medium post, the link will be in the description box, and check it how it works. And I will also right now walk you through this particular live demo of this app which I built, and let's see how this app works well with integration of OpenAI API plus the Streamlit. So this is a very simplistic Streamlit web app. You have this UI or this widget where you can put a lot of text out there. It's basically a text area box, and then you have this output. So if you want a to the point, you want some concise, you want a detailed, all will be there. The AI will do that thing for you. So I took few lines from the discussion of this particular paper, which I've introduced in my previous video where we spoke about STMole, Streamlit integration of Py3D mole, and when you were working with molecular visualization. And what I did was I took the discussion part from this, I copied it, and now this is the first time I will just paste it here. So basically we have the entire stuff there, and I want a detailed summarization of this part, right? So I'll just go to detail, this radio buttons out here, and I press this button, generate summary out here. Check here. The STMole package makes it easy for researchers to create web application that visual molecular data. The package has been well received by the scientific community with over 3,000 users. Rascore app is blah blah blah. A lot of stuffs have been there. The package has a potential to streamline drug discovery by simplifying the process of visualizing molecular data. So this whole idea of this paper maybe not so precise, maybe not to the point, but we get an overview of it using few lines of Python code where we used OpenAI and Streamlit together, and this is how we can build very simple web app. Blog post, I have kind of invested a section which speaks about the limitation and the general discussion about it. So in order to make this model much more fine-tuned for your purpose, you need to play with it, tweak a bit. However, it gives the purpose, it solves your purpose. So that is something which is very useful, and that's something which I would really like to leverage, that power of OpenAI's API with Streamlit. And I think it will be very exciting for a lot of us because we would really love to introduce all these stuffs in our Streamlit web app. So let's try to see what we can do and how we can do this. First, let's come to the model which OpenAI offers. So one of them is GPT-3, which was used for summarizing. There is Codex for translating the language, natural language to the code part. There's content filter, all these things, super useful. GPT-3, we have this text-da-vinci 3, which is the latest one, the most capable, the most powerful one. Then we have the text query, the other, this all are the models, which is super powerful, which comes under the banner GPT-3. Then also we have the codecs, where the da-vinci comes, the da-vinci O2, the code Cushman O1, all this comes. They depends on your use cases. You can use either of them, either of these models. All of them are pretty good, but you can go through it, read, serves your purpose. That's the most important part. But how are we gonna use it? I wrote a first section where I said about the use case or the setting up of OpenAI APIs. I'll also go to that part as well. So if I go to the API keys, so this particular website account / API keys, here you can create your own APIs, right? So in our use case, we will create a new secret key. As you can see. I'll delete it once this video is out already, so that you guys don't use my key, but make your own API key, which will be the best thing, and then use it for your own purposes, right? For your own app. So once it's copied, once it's first time created, it's done. That's it. So you have to copy it then and there. So I copied that part. Once I have done this part, if we come to the next section, it's about Streamlit secrets, or you're creating your environmental variable, or you can hard code that part also. So that's after creating your Open API key. You have to copy that, and then we come to the next part. I have my Visual Studio Code open out here. You can see there's already, I made a new folder, so you can make your own new folder however you want. Let me also open the terminal here. So if I press 3, there's only one Python file, or our main script file, which is summarizer AI, right? And then there is nothing else. So, but in order to use the OpenAPI key, you can do in two ways. Either you can just give a string right here, like let's say the API equal to something. You can do like this and paste it here, whatever we copied. That's how you hard code it. I don't think that's something recommended. You should not show your API key. So for that purpose, how you can do when you're using with Streamlit, you can actually create a new folder called .streamlit, right? Once you have that, inside your Streamlit folder, you need to create a new file called secrets.toml. I have elaborated this process in most of my previous videos with Streamlit, where you need to use these API keys. So inside this folder, we create secrets.toml while working locally, right? And also when we are pushing it to the GitHub, we need to make sure that we add this file in the git ignore. Otherwise, it will be out there for everyone to see, which again, we don't want. So let's say here we say pass or something like this, and we paste this string which we copied, this API key which we copied. That's all we need. So since now we have this part, I don't need this part to be hard coded here. It's inside my secrets.toml. Now we can access this particular secrets.toml, this particular pass variable, using streamlit.secrets syntax, the st.secrets syntax. Otherwise, you can create your own environment variable. In that way also you can do it when you're using a Jupyter notebook or your Python script. That's how you do it. So let's start now writing the code. We'll start with the dependencies, the OpenAI dependencies, and also then we will try to call this particular secrets, and then we will finish this whole app. It's very few lines of code. It will be super interesting. Let's write the code now. So the first thing which we need to do is we install the dependencies, right? And in order to install the dependencies, we need to write pip install OpenAI for installing OpenAI in your computer. So basically, you just to go open your command terminal, and there you execute this command pip install OpenAI. Similarly, for case of Streamlit, you need to write pip install Streamlit, and the latest version of your Streamlit or OpenAI will be installed. So this is something which I'm not doing now because it's already installed in my computer, but I will directly start with importing the dependencies. So basically the packages, so we'll say import OpenAI. That's it. And for importing Streamlit, we'll say import Streamlit as st. So once these two parts are done, we are ready to write the code block. So the first thing is we need to assign our API key, right? So we set the GPT-3 API key, right? We store this here in our secrets.toml, and as I mentioned before, Streamlit has its very nice streamlit.secret syntax, right? So we write it this way: OpenAI dot API key equal to st.secrets, and this function, this Streamlit syntax, can access this particular variable here, the pass. So I pass it as pass. That's it. That's all we need to do to assign our latest API key. Once we have done this part, we are ready to perform more tasks. The first thing which we really want to do is set up our UI. So let's start with a header, and here we can write it as summarizer. Using OpenAI and Streamlit, right? So it's a typical header which you're putting. The next part is we need to give our user or a front-end user with a particular text box or a layout box where the user can put or dump a lot of text, right? That's very important here, because the other way we can do is we can actually have a file uploader, which the Streamlit file uploader widget will allow, and the user can upload any text box, and from there we can read the entire content of that text. But here, for a simplicity, we will just allow our user to paste any text which he or she wants. So for that, we need to have a st.text area box, right? So text area, that's what we want. And here we say enter your text which you want to summarize, and I will assign a variable to which is like the article text or something like this. Okay, so we have this few stuffs here now ready, and let's see how the app looks like, right? So let me first fire Streamlit in my terminal. So how we do that? We say Streamlit run, and we give the name of our file. So we summarizer ai.py, and we fire the terminal, and let's see how it looks in our local host. So this is our local host. We have our header here, we have the text box. That's all we need, and here we can dump a lot of text as we want. So basically we can dump this whole discussion part as I showcased in my previous already demo app which I had. So this is something which we need. So we're happy until now. So next part, we go to the coding block, and we will start writing the code. So first we will use a kind of a conditional statement. If article text is greater than 100, so let's consider that the purpose of summarizer only comes up when there is a long sentences, right? I mean, otherwise it makes no sense to have a summarizer app when you don't have long sentences. So I am just using that if the article text length is more than 100, which is a kind of a random number which doesn't have lot of sentences, but in this aspect what I meant is the sentence should be long enough, right? So more than 100 words, we will create a button. So let's write it this way: if st dot, so if this condition is successful, we go to the next block and we say generate a summary. And if this, so basically this will create a button which, if there is more than 100 of words, it will create this button automatically. And now comes the main part where we will incorporate our OpenAI create or the completion text functions. So how we do that? First, let me give a comment here. Use GPT-3 to generate summary of the article. So let's start using this way. So we say a variable called response, and then we have OpenAI dot completion. So this is the particular class. Let's also go back to my blog post where I have kind of written in a very detailed way how this can work. This part of the blog post where I say the completion class is an AI powered text completion model that can generate text based on the prompt. So this is one of the argument which we'll do, which also provide at this moment. And it uses this create method, and it has the other arguments like the engine, the prompt, the maximum tokens, specifies the maximum number of words that the completion model should generate as its output. That's also very important. And the most important comes to have a preciseness of our results. That comes the part or the argument called as temperature. This is the parameter that controls the randomness or the creativity of the text generated by the completion model. So this is one of the most critical argument which we need to take care of. And the value, which varies from 0.0, it's basically a float from 0 to 1. Temperature, normally if you keep at 0.5, the randomness is kind of, in between, it's a mean. If you give at 0.0, much more preciseness comes there. So that's why this argument is pretty important, and we will use all this argument under this create method, which we'll write right now. So let's go back to the coding part now. This part was a response. So now we write the create method out here. That's it. And now we dump all the arguments. So the first arguments, as I mentioned, is engine. Here we will use, let's say, text-da-vinci 003. So you can see it if I go to the OpenAI and to the models part in the GPT-3, which I also mentioned before. The latest model is text-da-vinci 003, which is the most capable one or the most powerful one. We will use this. If you see my blog post, it was using the 002, which is also pretty useful. I mean, I have tried it and it serves the purpose. Next argument comes, as I mentioned before, is the prompt. This is also very important because this is where you are giving command to the OpenAI API, or you are kind of think in a way, analogous to a way where you are commanding your AI what to do or what not to do or how to do it. So here we will write this way, please, sentence says, and then we dump here with our sentence. So basically the sentence will be created by this article text, right? So I will just put the article text here. So please summarize the scientific article for me in few sentences, plus we concatenate the string with the article text. So every time it runs, this is the first line which it will get. This is the first command which it will get. The next token, we can it should be an integer, so we can actually put, let's say, temperature. So rather than hard coding the temperature part, we can make a slider. So this is how we create this part and we assign it to the temp. That's all. Our temperature, this particular slider is there, the box is there, and only when which more than 100 words, let's say I copy this whole part here and I put it back in the app. If I now press enter, you see the generate summary comes. I won't press it yet. Let's go back to the coding section again. So the next part is we need to create an output out of it after it's done. So we need to basically print the summary, res equal to response, and we access its. This is how the response comes. Choices, then from there we go to the text section, right? So this is how we will print our summary. And let me use Streamlit info, let's say st.info, and we dump the rest out here. That's all. And now if you want to download the stuff, we just say st.download button, and here we say download result, and we just dump our res variable inside it. So we can actually complete this if loop which we started here. We can say st.warning, you can give a warning that the sentence is not large or long enough. We see the warning that sentence is not long enough. Technically we could have put this inside the temperature thing, inside more than 100, and then we won't even see the temperature unless the sentence is out dumped there. Dump with the text. So basically if I copy now this whole text which we take from the article and I dump it here and I press the control enter thing, we see the temperature, we see the generate summary. And now we can actually run our analysis, run and generate a summary out of it. That's what's something the most interesting part. Let's see how if it works well or not. So now if I run this part, let's see generate summary, if it works or not. It's running now, it's creating summary. So here we have this article presents html and open source Python package. So all this line which we have just inputted inside, it comes. So all this line, if we have imported first, it comes here as a summarized block. It enables researchers from different scientific backgrounds to quickly and easily deploy interactive web applications for visualization or experimental or simulated data. So all this stuff which was there in the discussion part, it is summarized quite well. We can make it much more, you can say, much more random. So if we increase this part more, and now if I press the generate summary now, if you see it's still running, this time it will be much more random. The preciseness will be less, the it will be much more random. As a result, I don't know, we need to compare with this result. You can do that yourself, but this creates a different kind of results every time you generate a summary. The another critical part which is also going to take into account is the maximum token. So as I said, we can just let's say we can create 50 tokens, and now if I run this part, the generate summary, let's say I use with high preciseness, okay, and I generate summary, I press it now, you see a much less output token. This is what I was specifying when I mentioned the maximum tokens. You can go to the maximum numbers, you can see the documentation, it mentioned what will be the maximum number of tokens, and that's how you change the conciseness, or you can change the detailed summary or a concise summary, which I also mentioned in blog post. Please go through it out there. I have given 3 options: the point, concise, or a detailed summary. You can use that also in your app and give your user a way to interact with it. So that was all the part of it. If you really want to know the shortcomings of this app, or how it works, or how we can actually discuss about the limitations of it, please read this blog post. I have discussed in details, and I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy this part, because this is super useful when you're trying to summarize your meeting notes, summarize any article, summarize a book which you have read. And that's where the power of OpenAI and Streamlit comes, and I'm really hoping that you guys will like it. Throw your feedbacks and your comments in the comment section. I will be up there with this particular link of the blog post, and in future when I make this series of videos with OpenAI and Streamlit, all this, the available link to the GitHub will also be available. So please let me know how it feels, and don't forget to subscribe or like this video and share this video. Cheers. Thanks.